Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Today, the American people will decide who will become the 46th President of the United States. The fight between the White House incumbent, President Donald Trump, and his rival, Joe Biden, will continue up to the last moment. According to the latest survey conducted by Reuters, Joe Biden, the Democratic Party candidate, has a small lead over President Donald Trump.
According to the latest survey conducted by Reuters, 52% of voters would support Joe Biden, Democratic Party candidate for President of the United States, while around 44% declared their willingness to vote for the incumbent President Donald Trump. 4% of respondents are still undecided. The fight for votes will continue up to the last moment.
The Parliamentary Health Commission is to vote on the presidential draft of the bill on family planning. The document is already before the Polish Parliament.
Polish President Andrzej Duda has proposed the introduction of a provision on the possibility to perform an abortion only if prenatal tests or other medical exams indicate a high probability that the child will be stillborn, which means that it has died during labor, or that the child will be born with an incurable disease or defect leading directly to its death. The presidential draft of changes in the so-called anti-abortion law was submitted to Parliament on Friday. The main purpose of the amendment to the act is to dial down social tensions caused by the protests organized by the National Women's Strike.
According to the latest data from the Polish Ministry of Health, there are 19,364 new coronavirus infections in the country and 227 new deaths. The highest number of new infections, at 2,959, has been reported in the Mazovian voivodeship, in which is situate the capital, Warsaw.
The Polish Ministry of Health has announced new 19,364 coronavirus infections reported in the last 24 hours. 227 people have died of COVID-19. The Mazovian voivodeship has reported the highest number of new infections, that is 2,959 in the country. The Silesian voivodeship is in second place with 2,407, and in third the Greater Poland voivodeship with 2,114. The total number of coronavirus infections reported in the country since the beginning of the epidemic is nearly 415,000, including 6,100 deaths.
The question whether this year's Independence March will go ahead on the 11th of November remains unanswered. Mayor of Warsaw, Rafał Trzaskowski, has passed the political responsibility of the provincial governor from the Law and Justice Party, Konstantin Radziwiłł, who will make the final decision on whether to allow or ban the event. The Independence March, organised annually by nationalistic communities, attracts tens of thousands of Poles to the streets of Warsaw to celebrate the anniversary of Poland regaining freedom as an independent nation on November 11, 1918, after 123 years of partition. Despite the coronavirus pandemic, the organisers of the march are still intent on holding the celebration.
Not long after the Independence March Association announced that despite the pandemic, this year's edition will take place as usual, the spokeswoman for the Warsaw City Hall, Karolina Gałecka, announced that Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski had asked the provincial governor for an opinion on the event. According to the Warsaw officials, the event could pose a serious threat to the public due to the high number of coronavirus infections in recent days. The Independence March is an annual gathering. The provincial governor registers these kinds of events. In 2017, the governor for Mazovia registered the march as an event for the years 2017-2020. When it comes to the current pro-choice protests and strikes, let me remind you that these are spontaneous, not registered, and can be dispersed only by the police. The mayor of Warsaw, Rafał Trzaskowski, takes part in them as a representative of the city and unites with the protesters, but does not encourage anyone to organize strikes or protests. Meanwhile, the main organizer of the event, Robert Bąkiewicz, says that he has no intention of listening to any side of the political disagreement. As he told us, given the fact that the event is cyclic, the organizers have no obligation to register the event with the Capital Center for Emergency Management, nor to listen to the opinion of the mayor.
Trzaskowski bierze udział w tych wiecach.
Mr. Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski takes part in the feminist strikes alongside radical neo-Bolsheviks and has no problem with that entire circus. Dozens, maybe hundreds of thousands of Poles will want to come to Warsaw on November 11th and show their love for the country. Under the current law, we can't organize the march.
Będziemy działali w zakresie istniejącego prawa.
The provincial governor has not yet spoken on the matter. His spokesperson, Ewa Filipowicz, is currently on sick leave. From what we managed to gather, it looks as though the governor's office will not be providing any new information in the next few days.
At least 4 people were killed and many more were injured as a result of yesterday's terrorist attack in Vienna in Austria, where a gunman shot at passers-by before himself being shot dead by police.
At least 4 people died and 22 were injured as a result of the attack which took place yesterday evening in front of a synagogue in Vienna. The Austrian authorities have announced that the attack has been classified as terrorist. According to the head of the Austrian Interior and Administration Ministry, Karl Nehammer, 2 people were arrested today in connection with the attacks. According to the Austrian police, the attacker was a 20-year-old man and known terrorist who had been released from prison in December 2019. The police have confirmed that at least one of the attackers is still at large. The Austrian Chancellor, Sebastian Kurz, has announced that Austria intends to fight terrorists. According to the Austrian Ministry of the Interior, the attack was well organized. Terrorists attacked the center of the capital in 6 locations. According to witnesses, the bomber ran and fired more than 100 bullets at the customers of bars near the synagogue. The leaders of the European Union countries said that they will provide aid as a sign of solidarity with Austria.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business, and more programs. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.